Well, good day, all you good YouTube folks. It's Saturday, November 13th. It's about 40 degrees out. It's been raining. They're saying it could change into snow later today, tonight. So I'm ecstatic. Thought it would be a good time to boost up the immune system. And what a great way to do that, using some Eastern white pine needles and making tea. Extremely high in vitamin C, vitamin A, and I don't want to say it tastes like you're chewing on a 2x4, but it's not terrible. And I put some honey in it when I make it. So honey and the white pine tea, you really can't go wrong. It's a good benefit for the immune system, and this is one that I'm blessed with to have on my property. It's a ginormous tree. I mean, look at the size of this thing. Of course the rooster has to chime in, but yeah, this tree is just, I can't even begin to think how old it is, man. It is just huge. And you can pretty much make pine tea out of anything except cypress, yew, and there is another one, but I can't remember the name of it. But this is what the bark looks like, and it does get less scaly as you go up the tree. Oh man, yeah, that's the rooster. So the bark is one way to tell the white pine, and the second way to tell is by the needle bundles, which are actually leaves. Alright, I had to get away from that rooster, so I cut the video off down by the tree. And now I'm back in my kitchen shop kitchen, with what I've picked from the tree. And the second definitive way to tell that you have the correct tree is by the needle bundle. Each bundle grows separately from the branch, or how it grows on the tree. And if you pick one of those off, there should be 5 needles. It can be a little bit deceiving because when they're wet, they stick together like they do today because it's raining. So if you count them, obviously there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they're all in a bundle. They stay together. I'm almost certain that the white pine is the only pine east of the Mississippi anyway that has a needle pack of 5 per bundle. So what I like to do, let me grab a pair of scissors. I like to peel the bundles off of the little branch, and when I make this tea I use quite a few. I'm trying to get the best flavor and, more importantly, the best nutrient count. So I will pick a bunch of these off. And a lot of people say that you can crush them to get the nutrients to leak out of the needles a little bit better. But typically what I like to do, and I have a trash can there, I'm not throwing them on the floor, I don't know if the trash can is visible, is I will cut these up. And a lot of people also say, just like they claim with vegetables and so forth, that if you boil them directly in the water, that you're getting rid of a lot of the nutrients. They chemically break down and it changes the composition and it makes them less effective and so on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to boil the water first, because I actually kind of believe that. As we all know, heat changes things. Burn a piece of wood and see what happens. It no longer is a piece of wood, it turns to ash. So I truly believe that that's possible with these needles as well. I've never really researched it, but we're going to play it safe, and we're going to boil the water separately from the needles, and then we're going to steep the needles in the hot water after the fact. So like I said, I'm going to cut these up so that the ends are exposed and I can get the benefits of, or I should say, the most benefit of the nutrients that are stored in these needles. Or leaves. Technically they're leaves, I guess. But because they look like a needle, they don the name needles. So I just got this hot plate cooker kind of thing. This is the brand. Crux, Croy, I'm not sure how they pronounce it. But it was on Amazon. It was under $50, shipped to the door free. And I gotta tell you, I've used it a few times and I really like it. It's got this copper color inside, little copper color trim. It works really well. The only thing I was disappointed with is I thought that this pot came off of the hot plate, but it does not. It's all one piece. So, with that said, I'm going to put in my water, and then I'm going to boil this water up and get it truly boiling. Maybe a little more just in case. Better too much and not enough, right? So we'll crank this up to high. Put the lid on to make it happen faster. And it actually happens pretty quick. So what I'm going to do then, and I obviously got a lot of needles, so I can make a couple of mugs of tea out of this. I'm going to clean this one out. And I'm going to put my cut up needles inside of this cup, or mug, whatever you'd like to call it. And when that water is boiling, I'm going to pour it inside of this, and I'm going to let it sit for about 20 minutes. Boy, it smells like a Christmas tree in here. Then we're getting close to it, aren't we? Once it's sat for about 20 minutes, I'm going to take another mug and I'm going to strain that through a filter. And I have to tell you that, call me hillbilly, redneck, whatever the phrase may be, I would typically drink this without straining it and just work through the needles. Because I don't know if straining it removes anything. Probably not, but you never know. And I mean, I kind of would want it as pure as possible. So that's my rationale behind that. And what I'm going to wind up doing after it's all said and done, this is honey that I harvested from my beehives this past fall. And I have an extractor, spin it up. And I do get some pollen in there and probably a little bit of wax. But you know what? I've eaten comb with honey in it, and I'm sure the wax is really great for your arteries. I don't know for sure, but this is how I like my honey. Raw and as natural as humanly possible. Again, I don't think pasteurizing it or heating it up is conducive to a pure product. So this is where we're at. I'm going to let that boil up, and I'm going to seep it into the needles, and we'll be back in a bit. Okay, so this electric skillet this water is already boiling, and I'm not even kidding. It's been like maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Granted, it's not half full all the way full, but this thing really impresses me. And for the price, yeah, my only disappointment is that the pot, the skillet, whatever you'd like to call it, is not removable. So now we're going to try and pour this over the tea, over the needles, without scorching myself. Alright, we've got just a little too much water, but that's okay. So as I said, I'm going to let this steep for, I don't know, 15-20 minutes. And typically you would think that the water would turn green. The longer you let it sit, the darker it does get, but 15 or 20 minutes or so, it typically stays pretty clear. I'm not sure why that is, but it does. So yeah, we're going to let this steep for a bit, and then I'm going to run it through the filter, and then I will add the honey to it. The only downside is when you let it steep that long, the water tends to cool off. So it's not going to be a super hot tea. If you really wanted to, you could put the needles in with the water, boil it up. You'll still get some of the effects, the benefits, I should say. Maybe not quite as much, but you will still get some of the benefits. You would just drink a little bit more. Speaking of which, I'm not aware of being able to overdose on this or drink too much of it. Like I said, it's vitamin C and A are the two huge things in this. It's got more vitamin C than eating a lemon, and who wants to do that? But so even if you got half of that benefit, you drank 2 of these a day, you'd be in great shape. And you know, you would have a hot cup of tea. Mixing in the honey is going to add to the flavor. It's just, this time of year when it's cold and rainy and damp and miserable, this is a really, really cool summer relief, in my opinion anyway. Or a Christmas relief, because it does smell like a Christmas tree. So I'm going to let this do its thing, and we'll be back shortly. Alright, so this has been seeping about 15 minutes now. I put my honey into the other mug, and now we're going to pour this through the filter. Try and get so you can see what color this water is. That worked out wonderfully. And hopefully you can see that the water is still pretty clear. And surprisingly enough, it's still pretty warm. So we'll try to expedite this. It's not like unbearably hot anymore, but it is warm enough to drink. And I guess if you really wanted to, you could pop it in the microwave for, 30 seconds or so. Let's try and dissolve this honey. And after the steeping process, you can see that the needles or leaves have lost their super green color, and that's to be expected, so it's not to worry about it. And most people would think you're crazy with the stuff. I probably can't tip it enough to see, but that's the if you're allergic to pollen, I don't recommend doing this with the honey, but thankfully I'm not. And you can see the pollen bits floating around in the honey, which personally I think is very beneficial. And that's what I do. And like I said, the amount of vitamin C and vitamin A, and I'm sure there's other vitamins and trace minerals and stuff in it, combined with the honey, just makes for a very healthy drink. It truly isn't bad, and if you've ever had surgery to improve your health or taken any kind of vitamins or yeast, proteins, pills, whatever, you know, some of that stuff can be pretty putrid, but this truly isn't all that bad. And it really doesn't taste like you're chewing on a 2x4. That was kind of a joke. But anyway, I just wanted to share this with you guys. I hope you're having a great weekend so far. And stay tuned because I've got more videos on different things coming up. Fiscus axe, sharpening, and some fat wood, and just a whole bunch of other stuff. So guys, enjoy your day. Hope all is well, and we'll talk soon.